Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to talk to you about card scarcity and the significance that it has on price points for the cards. In the recent town hall, I heard Matt field a question from the audience around why are packs so expensive? And I've heard this criticism levied at the team from various angles, whether it's pack prices or whether it's promo card pricing. The underlying concern is that if it were more affordable, more people would find joy in the game. And Matt addresses this criticism head on, but I want to approach it with more of an attempt to explain why it's so significant, both from a gameplay design perspective as well as a price appreciation or investment standpoint, that cards be scarce. If that sounds interesting, stick around and stay tuned. Okay, so my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258. You can call me 12. And we cover Splinterlands regularly because it's changed my life. So if that sounds interesting, you might want to subscribe to the channel. In the recent town hall, we at 134.02, we heard Matt talk about an answer to that very question. Why aren't packs cheaper? And the criticism, I think, is levied towards future packs, but I think it definitely applies to Rebellion packs. It definitely applies to even how Chaos Legion was priced. People were critical of every pack that has been sold because it's not $2, because it's not the price they want to pay, because they can't get every card they want. And I think that's the underlying challenge that people are facing when they're raising these criticisms. It's really not that we want cheaper, it's that we want to be able to afford it personally. If we wanted everyone to have it, we should just make it free. So it should have zero cost. And then what do we get when that happens? Soulbounds are free, but we see criticism about those because there's too many of them. Chaos Legion, we see criticism of that. There's too many of them. And so we have to understand that these criticisms are on two sides of one coin. Either there's too many of them and they carry no value, or there's not enough of them and they're expensive. It's not one is good and one is bad. They're just different approaches to approaching scarcity. Maybe something should be free and it should be ubiquitous or everyone can have a copy of it. And maybe certain things should be scarce and they should be deeply valuable. I think good game design would allow space for both. Let's listen to the town hall question and we'll carry forward from there. It's about a 2-minute clip and Matt's going to hear the question and then answer to it. Here we go.
Question from Phaeton3271. Can we make the game more accessible by lowering the price of packs to $1 to $2? Why are our packs priced the same as Magic the Gathering where our products aren't even physical? It also takes too many copies to level up your cards. A number of people have said that. I don't know that it would actually make anything better at all if packs were cheaper. So I'm not sure that's a... So in the future, I mean, again, the Rebellion sale was handled by the DAO, who paid, Splinterlands company to develop and put it out. So for future sets, I think that would be open to the community to decide. But I'm not sure that that's better. And again, I think it's important to have a certain value for cards. And if we go out and say that like packs are $1 or $2, it devalues cards in general. And just because the cards aren't physical doesn't necessarily mean they're less valuable. And as far as whether it takes too many copies to level up your cards, that is an opinion. I don't think so, and I think it's good. There's a dichotomy. Like there's something for everybody. Like we want to make sure that people who want to put a lot of money into the ecosystem have the ability to do that. And if it doesn't cost nearly as much to level up your cards to max value, it kind of limits the amount that other players are going to put into the ecosystem. So players, you need to think of it also as like from a business owner perspective, because in a way that's what everyone in this ecosystem is. And the goal is to maximize value in the ecosystem. So I don't necessarily know. I would venture to guess that the price of packs being $4 is not the reason we're not getting new players. That's not the reason people are leaving. And I don't think changing them to $1 to $2 is going to do anything other than bring less money into the ecosystem at a time where we should be trying to do the exact opposite. But again, just my opinion. And if the majority of staked token holders feel otherwise, very open to try some different things.
So there's a lot of things he said in there, but one of the overriding sentiments that he was trying to express is that it's not necessarily going to be beneficial if everyone can have it. First point. Second of all, cards holding value is actually desirable from the people who are buying it. If there's way too many of it, the prices would necessarily erode. That's the thing we don't necessarily always understand. If it's priced so affordably that everybody gets it, nobody needs it, therefore there's no buy price, therefore there's no intrinsic real value. If everyone has it, no one needs it. It's only where there's scarcity and not everyone can have it that you see price appreciation. On the screen, you're seeing a variety of promo cards that we've created throughout the game, throughout the history of the game. And you can see that cards like Zeriel, which was like I think it was a $50 purchase price, now selling for $8. That was the promo price, $50. You could use vouchers to get a great discount. I think it was about $32 per unit per BCX if you had all the bonuses, if you're using DEC and if you're using vouchers. Still, $8. Cards like that are promo cards, and they're set to a certain price because one, the company puts in effort to create them. Two, they have to design them. Three, they're a business and they deserve profit. If we want to buy it at $30 some, then we will, and if we don't, then we won't. And that's how businesses work. If the burger joint around the corner sells their burgers too high, we won't buy them. If they sell them for the right price, we will. And if they sell them too cheap, they'll go out of business. And so the same principles are at work when we see the Zariel being sold for a certain price, or Mantaroth. And then when we see these concerns around if we price them too expensively, people can't get into the game. Well, that's why the game offers different cards for different entry points. Mantaroth was sold in conjunction with Grimbarden Smith. And theoretically, Grimbarden Smith would have been cheaper. As a rare card, you could have got a max level rare for less money theoretically from a Mantaroth. Now, Grimbarden Smith ended up being really expensive because it was really powerful and had in-game utility. But this attempt to offer different cards at different rarities is one of the ways that the game does try to make it approachable for a variety of people. Because one of the questions that the person was asking, Matt, is it would be more attainable, accessible for a broader audience, and therefore cheaper would be better. There's a leap happening in that logic, but there's some logic there. That's why the team offers rare and legendary at the same time. That's why the new 5 promo sales that are supposed to come soon are going to offer 2 cards per promo sale, because we want to offer probably 1 legendary and 1 rare, 1 common and 1 epic. It'll be this sort of multitude of options to appeal to different budgets. The important point that I think we're missing when we approach this conversation is that it's not just about what it costs, because cheaper doesn't mean better and more expensive doesn't mean better. It's about the usefulness of the card within the game. It's about game balance and strategy. If the card has no function within the game, it has no purpose, it's just an NFT, it doesn't work in the battle system, it doesn't help you win when you play it, no one's going to want it. But if it has functionality and it helps you win, then people will want it. And so that's what we saw with Grimbarden Smith, where the price point went shooting to the moon because it was really powerful. It had a lot of functionality, and therefore people wanted it. And the same will be true of every card that's ever released in this game. If it has functionality and it has use, then it will be desired by those who have value to commit to this ecosystem. If it doesn't, we won't, and it won't carry price, or it won't hold price. But one of the keys that we need to take away from that is not just cheaper, better, more expensive, better. It's not like that. It's not binary. It's more complicated than that. In Splinterlands, each card's rarity and its scarcity play a crucial role in maintaining its value, but also the balance within the game. If we have too many amazing, powerful cards that were abundant and cheap, battles would lose their strategic depth. Do you understand that if everybody had the most overpowered card, then no one would have a unique advantage against other people? And that's one of the distinct sort of cool things about Splinterlands, that we have strategic depth, or you've heard me say player agency, that come out of the ability for us to choose one card over another. There's different paths toward victory, and you can discern right from wrong and maybe turn loss into victory. Maybe, especially as we move forward in the game's design and we see items and spells be introduced. So that if any card or every card was abundant and cheap, the battles would lose strategic depth. The game would lose joy because we would sacrifice player agency. And so it's important that packs have a price point that is unattainable for some. If there's anything worth owning, it will have a price point that is beyond the reach of some. Whether it's a house, whether it's cards in a collectible card game, whether it's food. The thing about limited resources is that they're going to be priced based on demand, and their demand is going to be based in part on their utility as well as access to funding within the ecosystem. As I've pointed to in previous videos, there's only so much value in the Splinterlands ecosystem, and that is always going to be chasing after the value within the ecosystem. New cards, new packs are part of that, but everything, no matter how cool or amazing the new thing is, it will be. We can't buy it if we don't have the underlying intrinsic US dollar value built into the system or new money coming in. So we talked about how scarcity of cards helps maintain game balance. We talked about how that the strategic depth allows player agency, but also by keeping certain cards rare or valuable, making them too expensive for everyone to own, the game encourages players to strategically think and critically adapt as they engage the game. You have a certain budget. How are you going to spend that to have maximum effect within the space? I've said that's the game within the game. You cannot dominate Splinterlands unless you are both an amazing investor as well as amazing gamer. An investor is sometimes we use the language of, there's the general manager who builds your deck. There's the coach who fields the team, and then those two experience, and there's also, those two different experiences make up the underlying game. If you build an amazing deck, but then you can't field it in a way that wins, you won't win. And all of the money in the world will not help you. I have an amazing, expensive deck of cards, and yet I struggle to get out of gold in Modern because I'm not as good as some. And so while others can be better with less, they're good coaches. While others can be better with more, they're good investors perhaps. And so that's an important distinction that gives them greater strategic, again, depth within the experience of this game. And so if we want a balanced game that has deep strategic sort of roots and that is going to be satisfying for the player to enjoy, then we're going to ultimately be seeking after card scarcity. Also, from an investment value perspective, scarcity will enhance the investment value of cards within Splinterlands. If they are ubiquitous, like I said earlier, and if everybody has them, nobody needs them. When cards are rare and not easily obtainable, they will become more valuable over time. That's been the argument with alphas and betas. Now, I know alphas and betas had a previous higher high, and they're in a sort of lower moment. But just this morning, I was looking on X, and I was watching, as I love to do, Gold Matters was posting. I wonder if I'll be able to find it here. Gold Matters was posting. Can't remember the last time I saw 3 alpha gold foil legendary cards for sale at the same time. And look at this. This is Lord of Darkness, Gold Foil Alpha. This is Spirit of the Forest and Elemental Phoenix. $5,000 for the Lord of Darkness, $42,000 for Spirit of the Forest, and $155,000 for the Elemental Phoenix. Now, those prices may never sell, but it's very interesting to note that those prices are ridiculously high. And earlier, he posted another one where he was selling something, or he bought something, and he was showing, he had taken a screenshot of an image. There we go. Malric Inferno. This is 6 years ago. He had this card. He took a screenshot of it. $1,750 was the cost. There was 1,900, I guess, copies on the marketplace. Now there's 145, and the price point is $4,000. And so the point here is that scarcity allows prices to appreciate. If there is an infinite amount of these assets, they are not going to carry their value. They're not going to hold value long term. They're not going to appreciate in price. And the point that Gold Matters is trying to make, and that I'm hopefully pointing to, is that cards appreciate, is assuming that they're scarce and desirable. They become more valuable with time, and this will create a vibrant secondary market where players can sell and trade and buy and rent, and that there will be a desire to hold those assets. Just like in the real world, a healthy secondary market benefits players by allowing them to earn rewards for the gameplay efforts and the investment in the cards. That's why, if this is done right, soulbounds will be desirable, they'll carry price, and that'll drive player base growth. So investment value is important, and it's not going to happen if card packs or if card assets, promo cards, or even soulbounds are easily attainable and everyone has them. As a third point, why we shouldn't price packs too cheaply, or promo cards for that matter, we have to think about long-term sustainability. For Splinterlands to thrive in the long term, maintaining a balance between card scarcity and accessibility is key. It ensures that the game remains sustainable with an ongoing support for updates and tournaments and community events, meaning the team can't have value in their coffers. They can't make money in the game if they don't price their promos and their packs in a manner that allow them to receive value for what they're doing. Somebody asked $600,000 was the proposal for the 5 promo sales that are being proposed by Matt. And they're like, that sounds crazy. That's too much money. $600,000 in DEC, 600 million DEC rather. And yeah, I think it was 600,000 US dollars. Yeah, it was. And they say that's too much money. But I think the criticism there is misunderstanding that there needs to be, it's not just about what it costs to make a promo card, it's about what it costs to maintain Steam Monsters the company, and therefore allow them to continue going forward and adding to, evolving, creating more, expanding the gaming experience of Splinterlands. If they don't grow, we won't grow, and so we want them to grow. Or we ought to, at least. And so long-term sustainability requires that the prices of these assets be set at a level that they are going to return significant rewards for the team. Now, that might mean that $4 is not the right price, or $5 is not the right price. Maybe 2 is the right price, maybe 3 or 4, I don't know. But the team needs to put, as any business would, decide what an appropriate price to allow them to continue business and operations and have a degree of success, and then put forward that number and see what we do with it. And maybe we buy it and maybe we don't, and then iterate in the future on price points. So in conclusion, while it might seem counterintuitive, at first the scarcity of Splinterlands cards is actually a positive factor for both the game and its players. It fosters strategic gameplay, enhances the value of investments, and ensures long-term sustainability for Steam Monsters the company and Splinterlands the game. And so this is why card pack prices should not be listed for 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, $1, $2. And they should be, an argument for why they should be more expensive. And definitely promo cards fall into that same category. And even soulbound cards, when we want to make them sellable, transferable, there should be significant cost that we have to put into that DEC that's burnt to make them transferable, because that controls the scarcity and that allows all of these factors to continue to be moving forward. Again, player agency, not everyone's going to have the asset. It's going to carry long-term value, and the team benefits. These are my thoughts around scarcity and why it's super important, and why I think people are mistaken when they think packs should be cheaper than they are. The issue of digital ownership versus real cards is irrelevant. These cards have value, they have in-game utility, and they should demand and carry a significant price point. If $4 is too much or $5 is too much, maybe we should try 3, but that's going to be up to the DAO, as Matt alluded to, if we contract the company, Steam Monsters, to create the next card set, which is an option for us if we have the vision and the intention and the desire to do so. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Have an amazing day. God bless.